All right, you guys are gonna make pots today that are gonna be used as planters in your classroom. And I started off the project by making these little cylinders for you, but they don't have a bottom for our pot. So you guys are gonna add that. Something that's very important for you to always do whenever you attach clay together is to slip and score. So to make a bottom, we're going to just take a chunk of clay and we're just gonna pat it down. Whoops. And you don't want it to be much thicker or thinner than like your pinky finger, okay? So make it about that, as thick as your pinky finger. If it's too thick, it could break, and if it's too thin, it could break. So kind of about this, like the thickness of a pencil or the thickness of your pinky finger, give or take. All right, so we're gonna lay down our little round slab, and I'm gonna set this on top. Now, whenever I attach, I have to score. That means scratch both sides. So otherwise they'll just kind of stick together and only water suction is gonna hold them together. And as soon as that water dries up, they'll just kind of fall apart. So if you want them to really attach, you have to kind of rough up the surfaces of the clay so that they'll kind of grab into each other. So you can use any kind of sharper tool like a fork or a pencil to scratch or score. Score is the clay word. So I'm just roughing up where my clay is gonna attach. So there you can see, I just roughed it up, really rough. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the bottom where it's going to attach. So I'll just rough it up or score it. So it's kind of crumbly. And now I need slip. And slip is just ground up, I put it in a blender actually, clay and water, and it works as like our glue. And it's sort of like the consistency of toothpaste or ranch dressing. All right, so we're gonna just kind of wiggle it into place. I scored and I slipped. And now, I don't know if you guys can tell, but see I have a lot of extra clay on the bottom. And what I can do is actually use that clay to strengthen the connection on the bottom. So I'll just kind of peel this up, tap it on there. And then this extra clay, you can either cut it off, like if there's a lot, if you actually have a lot of extra clay, you can cut little pieces of it off. Or you can use your fingers and smear it up along the sides, all along the bottom. See, I'm kind of just peeling it up along the bottom like that. And if you use too much slip, this is gonna be hard. I kind of put a lot of slip on here, so now it's getting really messy. You don't wanna overdo the slip or you'll turn your whole project into a pile of mud. So there we go. Now I have a bottom. It should be nicely attached so that hopefully it won't fall off in the kiln when it gets heated up to stay permanent. All right. And from here, you guys can decorate it however you want. Before you get crazy decorating, I would like you to write your name on the bottom of your vase or your pot, or you can do your initials, so I'll just write Hall on the bottom of mine. And then it might be nice if you write 2018, but you don't have to. But it's kind of nice to know when you made this. Several years from now, you'll know what grade you were in. Okay, now, you can do whatever you want in terms of attaching. So if you have an extra chunk of clay, I'll give you all like kind of a ball of clay, and then you'll use that to make your bottom. And if you have any left over, you can make some pretty attachments. So one thing you could do is roll out a coil. So it's like a snake. And you could wrap it around like that to make sort of another little ridge. You could put it along the top. You could roll up little balls and attach those along the top. But whenever you attach, you have to score and slip. So if I wanted to add little kind of marble shapes along the top, I have to score both sides, slip them, and then attach them on, okay? And so then you could almost make it look like a little castle. The one thing I don't want you to do is have anything that's coming way far off, because those are probably going to break. So kind of keep it nice and tight to your pot. Okay, so the biggest thing for you to remember is you need to add the bottom nice and strong by slipping and scoring. Then anytime you attach anything to decorate it, you have to slip and score. There's one more thing that I want to show you. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is that we have red slip, and what that is just a different type of clay. It's a red bodied clay, they call it. It's kind of like a brown color, but it's a reddish brown, and it's blended up. So this is just like our other slip that we use to attach our clay, and this you could use to attach clay, but we're going to use it as a decorative thing. So this color, when it goes in the kiln, it's going to turn white. And when this goes in the kiln, it's going to turn kind of like this beautiful light red color, brown color. And so what you could do is use this almost like a paint, even though it's still clay, it's not paint. And you could start to decorate your pot by painting on it with this other type of clay. So you could do something really simple like little dash lines. You could draw pictures, you could write your name. It's up to you. You could do polka dots. Could try and paint like a scene almost, like water and a sailboat, trees, leaves, that kind of thing. So you can use this as a decorative thing, as just a paint. And when it's fired, this will be brown, kind of a reddish brown. It'll look really pretty. And this other clay will actually be like a perfect bright white. So that'll look really pretty. All right, so that's one thing you can do with this red slip. The other thing is you could paint the whole vase or the whole pot. So here I painted my whole pot red and then kind of let it dry a little bit, maybe free draw while it's drying a little bit. And then you can scratch into it with just like a pencil or something, and you can actually draw into it. So if you think about how we've done scratch art before, this is the same idea. So then this way you can kind of get a little bit more details if you want to. It's really kind of fun to play around with. You could write into it, draw pictures, it's up to you. So those are two different ideas. All right, so just to recap. First, you need to attach your bottom to your pot using slipping and scoring. 2, you can, if you have any extra clay, it might only be a little bit, but you can add them to your vase however you want, your pot. And then 3, use red slip to decorate your vase or your pot however you would like. Oh, I forgot a step. Make sure you put your name on the bottom. Okay, have fun.